This is Pluto's Pathfinder Nyx Key Nebula. I have made contact with Earth. Over.
Another podcast. Oh, I know this is really late. This is so late. I meant to film this and get it out last Monday, and then I meant to do the same this Monday. I promise it's gonna be a more consistent schedule. But hi, I'm Nyx, and welcome to the podcast. I basically just currently I'm talking about a lot of VTuber stuff, just what's going on and everything. Not even what's going on, but like my opinions and thoughts on VTuber stuff and just kind of topics surrounding VTuber stuff. So yeah, I was actually going to make a podcast on a different topic. Now this was a couple weeks ago because I saw some stuff going on Twitter, and I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to be involved in that drama, even though it's kind of blown over at this point. I still don't want to be involved in that, but I am going to be talking about VTuber designs and how it's just like kind of hard, especially depending on your concept and the overall just the nature of your VTuber and everything, how it is hard to have a quote-unquote original concept, especially since most VTubers are based in anime or based off anime. A lot of VTubers are very, anime tropes and anime, inspired things. Like there's really like I can think of some VTubers and everything that are not anime based, but it's usually just the popular style in the VTubing space. So yeah, I'm sure you've seen on Twitter that there are there's a lot going on VTuber Twitter a lot of times. There's so much that I don't want to get into, but also want to skirt the edges, but I'm sure you've seen people calling out other people for copying their designs, and are some warranted? Yeah, kind of. I'm sure you remember a certain situation with a certain orca whale VTuber, but I don't think that hate is required in those situations even. Just a reminder of hey, it's okay to take inspiration, and it's also okay to be yourself, and take parts of things that you enjoy, but not take so much heavy direct I don't know what to call it, not inspiration, but heavy direct reference, that it becomes something that doesn't necessarily represent you. It represents that other person. And, people want to see you. If they wanted to see that other person, they'd go see that other person. You bring in people for a reason. The people that watch you will watch you for a reason. They watch you for you. And I think that's really important to remember. But it is at the same time really hard sometimes to come up with a quote-unquote original design or concept, because especially if your concept is kind of rooted in a idea that is not that kind of has a, I don't know how to put my words, I'm sorry, sometimes I do that. I'm slow alien. I am dumb. But, oh gosh, what was I talking about? But sometimes it is hard to take those ideas and have them be different, because sometimes certain color palettes or certain design elements just make sense for a certain idea or type of VTuber. For example, like let's see, a dragon VTuber is obviously gonna have a tail, you know, a dragon tail. They're gonna have wings. Let's see, I'm trying to think of things. A cat girl VTuber is gonna have cat ears and a tail and probably most likely some sort of collar, like choker sort of collar. Those kind of things are just elements of design that sometimes just work, you know. They're just typical things that an artist would, you know, say like, hey, this is probably a good idea to include because it's just design. And certain color palettes, it's important to remember also, certain color palettes just like work well together. For example, like, you know, analogous color palettes, monochromatic, complementary, you know, those are all like good elements of design and everything. You know, you don't want to just mishmash colors together and be like, oh, red here, green here, purple on this. Like, you're gonna look like a walking Christmas tree. And hey, if you're a Christmas tree VTuber out there, go pop off, you know? But for most VTubers, you know, I feel unless your concept is very kind of chaotic, you generally want a pretty, you know, put together, like, and even if you are chaotic, for like example, Hakos Bales, you know, she is very chaotic. Her whole thing is being chaotic, but at the same time, her design is still cohesive. It still works. The color palette, the placement of the items and everything, like, sure, it's chaotic, but it's still nice to look at. And so it's really kind of important to remember when you're designing a VTuber and coming up with a concept, like, what are you and everything. And personally, I am currently working on a redesign, actually, because I don't know that I feel that I personally did so well on that, you know, capturing who I am. Part of that is because I don't quite know who I am, so my redesign might take a little while. You know, I'm just gonna mess around with some things, see kind of what I like, what works, what doesn't work. Just kind of try and discover who I am first, too. So you'll still be seeing me in this form for probably a while, but I am working on a redesign because I also realized that I unintentionally, without even seeing some other VTubers, I have taken, I wouldn't say inspiration because I hadn't seen these VTubers before, but I had unintentionally taken elements of their designs that, you know, that line up with mine and everything. They're similar. They're not the same, but they're similar. So that also is another thing. Like, if you have a certain concept, it is going to be hard to come up with an 100% original design that no one's ever done, that, you know, is crazy out there and everything. A lot of things, especially now, have been kind of done before, you know, in one way or another. Maybe not exactly, but in certain ways. For example, my overalls. I didn't realize that Hololive Indonesia has an alien VTuber that wears overalls. I don't want to butcher this name, but Ariani EO15. EO15? I don't know if I butchered that. So sorry if I did. But Ariani is an alien VTuber who wears overalls, you know. Her design is also heavily inspired by like artists and paint and everything. I'm guessing she's, I haven't watched her before, but I am guessing she is probably an artist of some sort. And so her design is based off of that. But I hadn't realized that, you know, she was an alien VTuber that had overalls. I just was like, hey, you know, I kind of want to make like, you know, my design sort of fun and not like super, I didn't want to be super space princess because I'm not a princess by any means, but I also didn't want to be like space traveler because I don't feel like that's quite me either. I'm not a huge traveler. Unfortunately yet. Maybe eventually I will travel more, but as of now I am not. And so I'm working on a redesign to kind of be more cohesive in my ideas. I think, you know, I'm very proud of what I am currently and what I've done, but at the same time, I feel a little lost as well. I feel like my certain elements don't exactly represent who I am, and I think certain oh gosh, what was I gonna say? certain elements just don't really express I'm sorry, who I am, and I think it's just time for a change. But that change probably won't be coming for a little while because I need to figure out who I am first. But I know these design elements just, I feel like my voice maybe too, like, just doesn't really fit with how I currently am. But, you know, that's okay for the time being. And I learned a lot. I definitely learned a lot by, you know, doing this and everything and becoming who I am right now. But I think it's also important to learn and grow and change. You know, if you never change anything, you know, then you're not gonna learn, you're not gonna grow. You're not gonna you know, I don't know, I don't have any more words other than learn and grow. I put myself in a corner sometimes and I just can't get out of it other than saying whoops. Let's backtrack. Anyways, I've even seen some indie VTubers that are aliens that have like similar kind of elements to mine, which I realize like are not like them or me like stealing anything or taking inspiration even necessarily. It's just things that make sense for an alien. For example, my little space bun rings here, I've seen those on other alien VTubers, and like honestly I was like, wow, like I didn't even realize, but like yeah, it just makes sense. Like it's a cool element, I think, and I was really like, you know, proud when I came up with it and everything, but I realized that it just kind of makes sense. And so it's not something that I think people should get upset over necessarily. You know, it's just like, yeah, that's a good element of design. I'm glad I have that in my design because, you know, other people have similar elements. Again, not saying the same. If someone just straight up copies, that is not okay. But if they have similar elements, it's kind of a sign that, you know, your design is good, it's cohesive, it's at least a decent idea, it fits with your theme, you know? I don't think it's something, you know, to get upset over, because my design is still very different from theirs. You know, I look completely different. The VTuber that I'm talking about specifically, oh gosh, I don't want to butcher this name either, but I just want to shout her out. I know she has a bigger platform than me, but I still want to shout her out, because I've popped into a couple of her streams and she seems kind of cool, you know, but her name is Oxtre Lorraine. I don't know if I butchered that. My tongue doesn't work. Blah. But yeah, I just wanted to shout them out, because I think their design is also very cool. Of course, I'm biased. I am also alien. But it's okay to have similar concepts and designs and thoughts, because things just work together, and that's simply art theory, you know, that's design theory, you know, that's color theory. I think I'm using those words right. Don't come after me if I'm not. But I ultimately do understand being protective of your design. It's, you know, VTubing is very personal, and your design, your VTuber is very personal to you, and it's often an extension of ourselves, or maybe who we wish we could be, you know, in everyday life. Like, you know, just maybe we're more confident, or like VTubing, you know, really gave us a sense of self-identity and gave us sort of a purpose, you know. But it's also, you know, it's hard, but we do have to take a step back and maybe let it sit for a while and like be like, you know, is it really like, you know, super similar? Is it real? Is it a copy? You know, is it straight up rip-off copy? You know, maybe they've never even seen your design before. Maybe they just liked that concept and liked those colors, you know. Maybe they're just a cat girl who is pink, you know, and that doesn't mean they're copying Yanners, but it just maybe means they like that color and they like cats. I don't know, you know, people have their own reasons for their designs and their concepts. They have, you know, most people have a meaning behind it. They have some sort of connection to their VTuber and their design, and maybe things in designs are just common and are a common concept or a common color palette. So I definitely understand being protective and being a little defensive and on guard, you know, with your, you know, what is yours and what you feel so connected to. But at the same time, it's not cool to, you know, attack people and come after people. Same as when people do actually, you know, copy designs and everything. I think it's good to remind them and, you know, be encouraging of them being themselves and be like, you know, hey, you know, this I don't think is the correct way to go about this. I would maybe recommend this, you know, instead of, you know, there's been certain situations that people have just gotten horribly attacked and just, you know, horrible threats and everything over designs, and really, like, as not okay as it is to copy someone's, someone's hard work and everything, it's even more not okay to attack and threaten someone, that's not okay. Like, that's kind of messed up. Like, it is messed up. And I understand being protective of yourself or your favorite VTuber, but ultimately I think taking a step back is important, and really just thinking through things, taking a minute to let it settle, especially before you get online and start posting stuff. I have also learned that a little bit, it's definitely hard, especially for, if you're someone like me who has, kind of manic moods and everything, or stuff like that, where you just get kind of amped up and everything, and you're just like, yeah, this is a good idea, and later you're like, why did I do this? But it's really, it's just a learning, I feel like, for a lot of people, and it's okay to mess up too. That's totally okay. It's just, I think, important to admit when you've messed up, and it's important to, take accountability for that, and that, I think, is respectable. When you take accountability for your actions and your words and what you've done and said, I think that's really important, and that shows a lot of character, good character. And maybe what you did was not the best, but ultimately, like, owning up to it is doing the best you can in that situation, and that's showing growth. And gosh, I feel like, just like in the other podcast, I get so deep with these things. This is about VTuber designs. But really, it is kind of a deep topic, because a lot of people's VTuber designs are based in, very important things to them, and very personal things. And it's understandable that people would be protective of their VTuber, because their VTuber being an extension of themselves, they're really being protective of themselves, in some ways. And I won't rattle on again about how that's understandable, but you need to take a step back and blah, blah, blah. But I think I said my piece on this, and I do hope you enjoyed the podcast. I was really, or this podcast episode. This isn't the end of the podcast. Although I took a while to put this out. But I really appreciated the response I got on the last podcast. It was really, I don't want to get emotional and sappy, but it was really, really nice to see. It really made me feel good. So thank you. I loved seeing, comments and everything, and the likes and stuff. That made me so happy, is all I will say. So thank you. And if you made it to the end of this podcast, thank you as well. And yeah, I don't know. I'll say also comment an alien emoji down below if you've made it this far. Although I know most of you have probably clicked off because I'm just rambling. So that's understandable too. That is valid. But anyways, I will see you in the next one. Hopefully on time next time, and not super duper late. Thank you so much for watching. Oh gosh, I almost forgot to say, like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Nyx out. Peace out.